have some free agency talk on Miami Dolphins today. I am Nic Rohloff, the host of Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Bleacher Report dropped an article naming 3 NFL free agents that the Dolphins must go after, or at least think about signing in free agency. And I want to talk about the 3 names because 2 of them are intriguing. One of them we've talked about in the past, and I want to go back and see if these 3 players could potentially help the Miami Dolphins in their pursuit to win the AFC East in 2024. Before we get into what they had to say, we got challenged by Ellie Barefoot and Patriots Today. They said we could not beat their most liked video last week, which was 538. I said there's no way we don't top them. So help me out. Take down Patriots Today and Allie Barefoot. But also, don't make your boy look bad here because I made some bold claims that Dolphins Today would sweep Patriots Today out of the water. All right, before we talk about the free agents that Miami must sign according to Bleacher Report, I think it's important to note, and if you've been on alongside the channel here for a while, you would know this, but in case you're watching for the first time, the Dolphins have $16.1 million in cap space remaining. Kind of unexpected, right? But getting that $18 million off the books post-June 1st from Xavier Howard, and then adding 2 players to the roster in the form of Calais Campbell and Marcus May, Miami still does have a decent amount of cap space, so it is realistic to think they could go out and sign a veteran guy or even trade for someone and acquire that salary. But we'll stick with the free agents on today's show, and the first player that was mentioned by Bleacher Report was an edge guy. Yannick Ngakoue, the former Chicago Bear, Indianapolis Colt, Baltimore Raven, Las Vegas Raider. He's been around the block, but he is one of the most experienced and accomplished edge rushers still on the market. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say about joining forces with Ngakoue, who played last season with the Chicago Bears, has had at least 8 sacks in all but one of his NFL seasons. He had 4 sacks in 13 games in 2023. The Dolphins could add Ngakoue to a unit headlined by Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer to provide some depth off the edge. It may not be the worst thing for the Dolphins to look into adding depth in the sack department, especially if Bradley Chubb needs more time to get back to 100%. I found it interesting that Joe mentioned Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer because Yannick cannot play inside, and he's not known for being able to stop the run. He is a pure pass rusher, pure edge guy, so mentioning Sealer and Campbell didn't make a lot of sense to me, but you'd be adding him to an edge department that does have Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Shaq Barrett, and Mo Kamara. And Ngakoue is as experienced as any player out there. You mentioned the sack numbers and the consistency from him. Last year was the only year he didn't have 8+ sacks. You know how rare it is to come into the league right away and have 8 sacks for 6 straight seasons? That is unheard of, and Ngakoue is an accomplished pass rusher. He's also the epitome of consistency. Yannick Ngakoue is as consistent as it gets. He plays at least 10+ games a season for his respective teams, and he puts up numbers. Not going to be the guy that stops the run, but he gets to the quarterback at a very efficient rate. Only did not have 8 sacks or more in one season this past year for Chicago, but it was an odd season for him. They brought in Montez Sweat halfway through the year, and if Miami needs to address that edge group and they look in training camp and say, well, we're not fully healthy, we don't trust the rookies to get the job done early in the season, I could see Miami going out to sign in Yannick Ngakoue, and I could back it as well, is because he would be a really good 3rd or 4th option in this edge department. Let me know your thoughts, though. Deal or no deal? Would you sign Yannick Ngakoue to a 1-year deal to be this 3rd or 4th edge rusher behind Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips when you're fully healthy? Type S for sign or type P for pass. Number 2, another edge rusher, Carl Lawson, who we actually talked about on a show just last week. Here's what Joe Tanzi had to say on Lawson joining Miami. Said he feels like more of a risk than Ngakoue, and Miami may avoid the edge rusher help so it can see what 1st-round pick Chop Robinson can do in training camp. But he is at least available and could be a decent backup if he reaches the potential showcased across a few seasons. We did talk about Carl Lawson joining the Miami Dolphins last Thursday on July 4th because, well, Pro Football Network named him as someone Miami should go out and sign. So a lot of these places, Bleacher Report, Pro Football Network, PFF, they're all saying that Miami should add edge rushers, which is kind of an intriguing thought to me because the Dolphins have a loaded group when healthy, but the question is that health. We'll talk more about Carl Lawson and the Dolphins Edge Group in a second. But we are sponsored by Mando, the best whole body deodorant brand there is. And as summer is coming, make sure you are not the smelly person in the room. You need to get right when you're outside or hanging out with some friends, family, it doesn't matter. Mando is a whole body deodorant. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Yeah, anywhere. Pits, packages, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. It does not matter. And Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, whether you choose mini body wash, deodorant wipes, and there is free shipping. I got a couple products here to showcase for everyone at home watching. I got the Invisible Cream deodorant right here, and I also got the deodorant wipes. Those are 2 of the other options you get when you get the stick deodorant. My favorite, by the way, the Mount Fuji. It smells so good, so get that if you're out there. And luckily for everyone at home, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. 40%! Make sure you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Code CHAT, $5 off equals 40%. What else could you ask for? That link will be in the description and comments of today's video. Get yours today. Let's continue the conversation here on Carl Lawson, on what he could bring to the Miami Dolphins, because he is someone who has had quite a good career. Now, it's been a little bit of an up and down season for him, if you will, over the last 4. He was really good in Cincinnati, and he flashed on the scene for the Bengals when he was drafted in 2017 and played really well. And then he suffered a torn Achilles that costed him the entire 21 season, but then bounced back in New York and played extremely well, having 7 sacks. Battled injuries again in 2023 and could really never get anything going, not totaling a sack, only 5 tackles in 6 games played. Like, it's definitely a concern if you're adding Carl Lawson to this team. But I want to kind of take this to more of a macro conversation, right? It's very interesting to me that Bleacher Report named 2 edge rushers out of 3 free agents Miami must go out and sign. Because to me, the Dolphins would only add an edge rusher to this roster at the end of training camp. It would not happen before training camp. It would happen, I think, at the end, after you make the roster cuts and you have your initial 53-man, and then Chris Grier could look at the roster and be like, I actually think we should add another edge rusher here and go to see who else is out there in free agency. And it would only be if they don't feel they're healthy enough for the first couple weeks of the season. We know Bradley Chubb's coming back from a knee injury. He might not be 100%. Jalen Phillips is coming back from a torn Achilles. We hope he's ready for week 1, but that is not an absolute guarantee. So if you're going into the first week or 2 of the season and your top 2 guys are still banged up and they're not ready to go, hold them out, because we're playing the long game here. We're not playing to win the first game of the season. Well, you are, but you're not. You get what I say. Like, we trying to have longevity here, right? We're not trying to have the full arsenal ready to go week 1 if they're not fully ready. So if they aren't, go out and sign a guy to add the Chop Robinson, Mo Kamara, and Shaq Barrett, because I don't know if I really trust those 3 to hold it down in the first week or 2 of the season. If the Dolphins do make a signing in free agency, we'll have you covered, but we also have Dolphins news, rumors, and more all season long. Hit that sub button and join the channel today. I'm Nic Rohloff. We'll have you covered on everything surrounding the Miami Dolphins. I promise you will not regret subscribing to the channel. Last one, the biggest name, Stefan Gilmore, the corner, who is one of the best corners, if not even just in general, the best free agent still available on the market. Gilmore has been exceptional in his career, even winning Defensive Player of the Year when he was a member of the New England Patriots. And he has been passed around the AFC East as well, because he also started his career in Buffalo. And this name intrigues me. Why? Because I mentioned it. He is the best free agent available. Regardless of position, he is that dude. And even though he's on the plus side of 30, he can still get the job done. And I would be fascinated to see if he'd be willing to come to the 305 to join up with Kendall Fuller and Jalen Ramsey. Joe Tanzi had this to say on Gilmore. Says Stefan probably still wants to be a starter, but the Dolphins could carve out a role for him as the third corner if both parties are interested. Gilmore would get to play for a contender, and Miami would receive extra insurance in the secondary to deal with the countless number of impressive passing attacks in the AFC. Well, he's not wrong. If you get Stephon Gilmore on a as your third corner on a cheap deal, you would create the best secondary in the NFL. I mean, your top three corners would absolutely be ridiculous. Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller could be argued as the best duo in the cornerback department in the entire NFL. And you add Stephon Gilmore as that third guy to be the backup or come in potentially in some nickel situations, because Gilmore isn't just subject to only playing on the boundary. He could move into the slot if absolutely necessary. You would have the most dangerous cornerback room. But then you pair that up with Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland on the back end. My, oh my, you can really defend with the best of them. And like Joe mentioned, you do need to do that against passing attacks like Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo, Houston. Like, they have elite weapons and elite quarterback play, so you need to be able to match that, and Gilmore would be able to do it. And like I mentioned, he is on the plus side of 30, but he played in all 17 games last season for Dallas, and he performed extremely well. Gilmore would be a very welcomed addition to Miami, but that's kind of the thing. Like, he is still that good. He is performing at a high level still. So why wouldn't he sign with a team that is guaranteeing him a top 2 spot on their cornerback depth chart? That's kind of the issue here at hand. But if Gilmore is willing to join the team, kind of ring chase, and be in rotation with Fuller and Ramsey, sign me the heck up, because he would be an excellent addition to this Miami Dolphins roster, and you would have absolutely zero questions on this cornerback room, because then you would have depth behind those top 3 with Kohou, Nick Needham, and Cam Smith. Those are 3 free agents that the Dolphins must sign, according to Bleacher Report, or at least must consider. But name a free agent you want the Dolphins to sign down in the comment section. Feel free to name any of the 3 guys we talked about on today's show, but if there's a free agent we have not mentioned, you can go out there and drop their name too. I had to bring him up. How could we talk free agency without bringing up Greg Van Roten? I'm a little shocked that Bleacher Report didn't mention him. They went all defense, 2 edge rushers and a cornerback. I still feel as if the biggest need for this Dolphins team is right guard and that starting spot. Now, I am optimistic about a potential Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll training camp battle to see who can be the top dog and start week 1, but Greg Van Roten is the best right guard available, and he would be starting on this team no matter what right away. So I am a little shocked that he didn't get a mention from Bleacher Report. That'll do it for today's show. If the Dolphins did make a signing, the first place you would see the news is on my Twitter, at Nic_Rohloff, and then we would come make a video on the channel. So if you want to stay in the loop even more on the Fins, my Twitter is the best place to do it. Make sure you follow me, and I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.